From the CyberHub bunker and studio, you're tuning in to the CyberHub Podcast. And now for your host and CISO, James Azar.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the CyberHub Podcast, Tuesday, September 13th, 2022. We've got a packed show this morning, so we won't waste much time here. Just make sure to subscribe to our show, follow us on YouTube or your favorite podcast listening platform. Please make sure to like, share our content. And if you have any story tips, you can always send those through our website at cyberhubpodcast.com or on LinkedIn through a direct message. Now, let's get into today's show. But before I do that, no cup of coffee this morning. So whatever you're drinking, I hope you enjoy it. You make it yours, and coffee cup cheers. Trend Micro patches another Apex One vulnerability that's being exploited in attacks. On this morning, Trend Micro announced that it has patched several flaws in its Apex One endpoint security product, including a zero-day vulnerability. The exploited vulnerabilities tracked a CVE 2022-40139er. It's been described as an improper validation issue related to rollback functions. The security hole allows the agent to download an unverified rollback component and execute arbitrary code, according to a translation of a Japanese language advisory released by Trend Micro overnight. The high-severity vulnerability can only be exploited by an attacker who's able to log into the product's admin console. And since the attacker must have previously stolen the authentication information for the product management console, it's not possible to infiltrate the target network using this vulnerability alone, according to the firm. It's not uncommon for threat actors to want to exploit Trend Micro's products. They've done so in the past, and specifically being China. Apex One has had several zero-day and other vulnerabilities as well. So you want to make sure you get those patched today. Apple is warning of a macOS kernel zero-day exploitation. So Apple's security response engine revved in high gear Monday with patches for security defects in a wide range of products, including fixes for a pair of critical macOS kernel vulnerabilities already being exploited in the wild. Apple acknowledged the macOS zero days in an advisory, but did not share technical details or indicators of compromise to help defenders hunt for signs of infection. The two vulnerabilities, CVE 2022-328-904 and 329-17 affect macOS Big Sur and were reported to Cupertino by an anonymous researcher. An application may be able to execute arbitrary code with kernel privileges. Apple is aware of the report that this issue may have been actively exploited. Apple said the bugs were addressed with improved bound checks. The macOS 11.7 Big Sur update also covers 8 additional security flaws, some serious enough to expose Apple customers to code execution attacks and privacy bypass. That takes us to Apple releasing iOS 16 with lockdown, safety check, security features, and passwordless authentication. Apple released iOS 16 today with new features to boost iPhone's user security and privacy, including lockdown mode and security check. The company announced its launch last week during a special event where it unveiled the iPhone 14. As Apple said in July when it first unveiled it, the lockdown mode security feature is not meant for everyday usage, but instead designed to defend high-risk individuals from targeted attack with mercenary spyware. Turning down lockdown mode in iOS 16, iPad 16, and macOS Ventura further hardens device defenses and strictly limits certain functionalities, sharply reducing the attack surface that potentially could be exploited. Once toggled to lockdown mode, provides additional messages, web browser, and connectivity protection that block commercial spyware like Pegasus, and more so. However, lockdown mode enabled, it will be blocked automatically since vulnerable features exploited to install spyware like link previews will be disabled as well. Among other features that will be disabled to defense against spyware, Apple also lists message attachment types different than images, complex web technologies such as JIT, JavaScript compilation, uncalled for incoming invitation or service request, configuration profile installations, and MDM joining. According to Apple's description, the new safety check privacy tool is an entirely different beast, and that all comes together here in iOS 16. There's also safety check, emergency resets. They've actually given a little bit more control here on iOS 16. Well done for Apple. UHaul says customer data accessed using compromised credentials. The moving and storage giant UHaul is starting to inform their customers of a data breach impacting some of their personal information. Primarily, what they're saying is driver's license number. They're saying no PCI data was exposed, meaning they don't store credit card information, and and credit card details, but they detected a compromise of 2 unique passwords that were used to access a customer contract search tool that allows access to rental contracts for UHaul customers, according to the notification letter that UHaul submitted to the Montana AG. The unauthorized party was able to access customers' names, driver's license number, and state ID numbers between November 5th of 2021 to April 5th, 2022. Attackers accessed some rental contracts, the company says, without providing information on the number of impacted customers. With 23,000 locations and probably a central system, you can imagine this is going to be significant as we get deeper into this. Iranian hackers are targeting high-value targets in nuclear security and genomic research. Sorry, I moved really fast there. Hackers tied to the Iranian government have been targeting individuals in Middle Eastern affairs, nuclear security, and genome research as part of a new social engineering campaign designed to hunt for sensitive information. Proofpoint attributed the attack to TA453, known as Charming Kitten or Phosphorus. It all starts with a phishing email impersonating legitimate individuals at Western foreign policy research organizations that ultimately designated to gather intel on behalf of the IRGC. Spoofed personas include people from the Pew Research Center, the Foreign Policy Research Institute, the UK's Chatham House, and the scientific journal Nature. The technique is said to have been deployed in mid-June of this year. What's different from other phishing attacks is the use of a tactic Proofpoint calls multi-persona impersonation, wherein the threat actor actually employs not one but several actor-controlled personas in the same email conversation to bolster the chances of success, meaning they'll create like a chain of email, then add someone in, making it seem like a legitimate communication, one that would not even have you question the fact that it's a phishing email. Once the initial email elicits a response from the target, the persona then sends a follow-up message with a malicious OneDrive link that downloads a Microsoft Office document, which alludes to a clash between Russia and the US with macros. Then there's a remote template injection to download Korg, a template consisting of 3 macros that are capable of gathering username, a list of running processes, and the victim's IP addresses. And then they start the exfil of beaconing information. No other post-exploitation actions have been observed as of yet. So we've been talking a lot about Iran. There's a reason for it. There's a clash headed that way. Whenever you see a country this much in the news in every single aspect, including cyber, understand that's a preparation for conflict. It's letting you know just how bad they really are. That's how it always is. And we'll end with Chinese government hackers using diverse toolset to target Asian prime ministers and telecoms. So hackers associated with the Chinese military are leveraging a wide range of legitimate software packages in order to load their malware payloads and target government leaders across Asia, according to the Semantic Threat Hunter team. The attacks involved a widely used technique known as dynamic link library or DLL sideloading. The tactic takes advantage of how Windows applications handle DLL files and involves malware that places a malicious DLL file in a Windows Win SXS directory so that the operating system loads it instead of a legitimate file. They said the campaign targeted a range of government and state-owned organizations in several Asian countries, including the offices of multiple prime ministers or heads of government. Government organizations tied to finance, aerospace, and defense companies were also targeted alongside state-owned telecoms, IT organizations, and media companies. This tactic's been known for a very long time, but it's obviously still yielding results for the Chinese, which is why they keep using it. The latest campaign started in 2021 and is almost exclusively focused on intelligence gathering on government and other public entities to give China the edge it's looking for in the region. That's it for our show today, folks. We'll be back with a whole lot more tomorrow. Until then, have a great rest of your day. Enjoy this week and stay cyber safe.
We love feedback, so make sure to connect with us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform.